Okay, I'm going to start admitting people. Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Hollister High School's UC CSU Information Night. My name is Andy Prisco. I am one of the counselors here. Um, we have two very special presenters tonight, but before I introduce them, I want to go over some housekeeping items and just some dates and important information with you. Hopefully you can see what's on the screen there. This presentation is being recorded and will be available on our school website. So you can look for that there. We have a new school website. So you'll go under the counseling tab of that to find this presentation. Just a couple things. The 2026-27 FAFSA will be available October 1st. That's right around the corner. Seniors will be creating their FSA IDs in their economics or US government classes, depending on which one they're taking this semester. The priority deadline to submit the FAFSA is March 2nd, 2026. Parents will need their 2024 or 25 tax information to complete the FAFSA. There are separate online applications for students and parents, and the number of questions has been reduced compared to previous years. Also, counselors will be meeting with eligible seniors in our Career Center during the months of October and November to help with university applications. Each counselor will be reaching out to their respective seniors. Counselors have already met in HSTs with all of their seniors, and so students should be aware of that. Okay, one of the things that we wanted to remind parents and our seniors about is that we're going to be visiting English 12 and 12 AP classes very soon to assist seniors in using the californiacolleges.edu platform when they apply to CSU, UC, and community colleges. Seniors are also going to be encouraged to work on personal statements, a high school activity sheet, and so forth. All right, let's talk about some important dates coming up. We have our Senior Parent Financial Aid Information Night. That's coming up Thursday, October 9th. There's going to be an English presentation in our student union. That's our new cafeteria. And the Spanish presentation will be in our auditorium, and that's from 6 to 7:30 p.m. on October 9th. If any students out there are interested in the military, Mrs. Andred in our Career Center, she is doing the registration for the ASVAB, the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test. The deadline to register for that is Monday, October 6th. Students should contact Mrs. Andred directly in the Career Center to register. Hollister High School College Fair will be coming up Wednesday, October 22nd from 5 to 7 p.m. in the Matson Gym. If you have any questions about that, you can contact Mrs. Andred again in the Career Center. Her phone extension is 1185. To assist students, seniors, and their parents with the FAFSA, we're going to have two Cash for College events this year. One is going to be October 15th in the library from 6 to 8:30 p.m. And then we're going to have another one in the spring on Thursday, February 26th, also in the library from 6 to 8:30 p.m. Another note, our local scholarship applications will be released in early January, typically the first or second week in January. Mrs. Andrade is our scholarship guru. Last year our community gave hundreds of thousands of dollars away in scholarship monies to students who were selected for scholarships. So that all starts in the spring semester, and Mrs. Andrade is the go-to person for that. We wanted to remind folks that if your student is a first-generation college student or comes from a financially disadvantaged family, that we have CalSoap in our Career Center. They're an organization that works with several campuses in our county and nearby counties, and they can help students with their college planning, college applications. They do college tours, they do academic advising, they do SAT prep, tutoring, financial aid workshops, and scholarship opportunities as well. So they are in the Career Center. We have 2 new CalSoap staff members, and Mrs. Andrade is also in the Career Center there, and she can answer questions about that too. Okay, and then finally, if you have questions during tonight's presentation, please type your questions into the chat, and we will try to answer them at the end, by the end of each presentation. We are going to do a Q&A at the end of each presentation, at which point you can unmute yourself and ask questions during that time. And then Spanish speakers can use the chat feature to ask questions to Lorena Fernandez, one of our high school counselors here.
Buenas tardes, soy la consejera Lorena Fernández. Si tienen preguntas, en la presentación va a ser en inglés, pero si tienen preguntas en español, los pueden escribir en el chat y yo puedo traducir para ustedes.
Okay, so that brings us to tonight's main event. We have 2 wonderful admissions counselors with us. We have Claudine Naknak. She is a senior admissions evaluator for University of California, Santa Cruz. And we have Azucena Ramos. She's an admissions counselor with California State University, Monterey Bay. We're going to start with Claudine tonight. And then again, we'll do a little Q&A period, and then we'll turn it over to Azucena, and we'll go from there. And I will be trying to respond to questions in the chat as we go. If I'm not able to answer your questions, we'll wait for the Q&A period. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Claudine. Thank you, Claudine.
Okay. How's my volume?
Good.
Okay, thank you. Let me share the PowerPoint. Oh, it says I have to request sharing.
Yep.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay, thank you. Let me just move all the bars here. All right, how is that?
Looks great.
Okay. Thank you. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Claudine Naknak. I am a senior admissions evaluator at UC Santa Cruz. I've been in this role for 3 years. I've been in the office, with the office for 8, and with the campus for 10, almost 10. But yeah, half of my role is reading applications. I post transfer credit for students who have taken any college courses at any of our California community colleges. And during the fall season, I do recruiting and outreach. So I am typically out at schools and community colleges, and I connect with students in person and families, which is something I love doing. And yeah, I tell students about our campus. If you've never been to our campus, and I hope you do visit our campus, and I highly recommend you do so, we are essentially a redwood forest on a hill with beautiful ocean views. And in this photo, I don't know if you can see that there, but there is a track. And back in the day when I had better knees and I would run a lot on the track here, at the very edge is where I would hear people screaming from the boardwalk rides in the summer because, you know, sound goes up, but I just thought that was a funny thing. This here is one of our colleges on our campus. It's one of 10, and I'll talk more about that later. And I would say too that we are probably one of the more beautiful UC campuses out of all the other campuses. If you didn't know, we are a huge research institution like the other 8 campuses. 75% of our students do some kind of research. We are a student body of 20,000 students. About 18,000 of our students are undergrads, so these are students who are pursuing their bachelor's degree. And because we only have 2,000 students, 2,000 graduate students, we have a lot of opportunity for our students to conduct research. Even if you're not interested in research, depending on the class, depending on your major, you may have to do a research project at the end for a grade, right? I'm also asked how large our class sizes are. It depends. Typically, your first or second year, those are going to be large courses, large students, large audience of student, but you're always going to be put in smaller groups that's led by a graduate student or a lecturer. And then as you go into major courses, those class sizes tend to get smaller. So it's typically about 25 people, no larger than 30. If you're interested to see the research opportunities we offer, you can go ahead and scan that QR code or even do a Google search. We are the closest UC campus to Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley houses all of the big name tech brands. So there's Amazon, Netflix, Google, Facebook. Whether you're interested in engineering or not, doesn't matter. These companies all need people. I mean, you don't have to be majoring in tech or majoring in engineering or computer science. These companies need people in marketing, right? Business, they need web designers. And this is advantageous for our students because it means internships and it means job opportunities after graduation. We on this campus, we hold a lot of events for students where you can make these connections, networking events, so you can potentially get a job or an internship. Also, we are from Hollister. We're about an hour away without traffic. I think that this is a great college university to apply to because if you miss your friends or family, you can go home on the weekends, even midweek, if traffic's not bad. And also, it's far enough that you get a different experience. We have 74 majors on our campus. The popular ones are here on the right. Computer science, psychology, and business are our top 3. If you're interested in computer science, I do want to tell you that it is an impacted major on our campus. It is the only one that's impacted on our campus. Impacted means that it is popular and we don't have a lot of spots. So in the past, we've had to deny students not because they didn't do well academically for computer science, but because we just didn't have the space. We also have unique majors here on the left to our campus. Agroecology is the study of sustainable farming. And at the bottom there, creative technologies. This is the UC's first online major. All of the courses are online. And so this is at the bachelor degree level. All of the courses are online, except for the last one. The last one has to be taken at a UC campus. It does not have to be at the UC Santa Cruz campus. It could be any of the UC campuses. The residential college system is a unique thing to our campus. Essentially, this is where you want to live on campus. Well, actually, whether you choose to live on or off campus, as someone who is admitted as a student, you are always affiliated with one of these 10 colleges. Each of these colleges have a theme, but they do not have any relation to your major of choice. So if you are admitted and you are living in the dorms, you may have a roommate that has a different major from yours. So you may be housed in a room with roommates who are majoring in like psychology, biology. So really these colleges they serve as neighborhoods. And I don't think I said this earlier. Our campus is 2,000 acres. It is a lot of land, but a lot of the buildings are on the north side. So if you're walking from one side to the other, it really only takes about 15 to 20 minutes. But yeah, these residential colleges are essentially neighborhoods. This is where you're going to eat, sleep, study. It's also where you are assigned a college advisor when it comes time for you to choose courses and to sign up for courses. And yeah, you'll be taking classes all over campus, but you are only assigned to one of them. If you're interested to see what the inside of these dorms look like, you can check out the link there. YouTube is also a great resource. We have videos on there where we do, you know, a day in the life of a marine biology student or a day in the life of a psychology student. And I've seen some of them, they're pretty great. And the students tend to show you, you know, what their dorms look like. Here on campus, we have over 200 clubs and organizations that you can get involved with. If you don't vibe with any of them, you can start your own. You can see there in the background just a list of some of the clubs that exist on campus. So we've got one that's called the EMS, Emergency Medical Slug. So that's something if you're leaning toward a medical field, that's something you join. We have a Bangladeshi Student Association. We've also got Aspiring Physician Assistant Association Club. So that's for students who are interested in maybe becoming doctors. We also have resource centers that celebrate different cultures on our campus. Ethnically, we are 30% Asian, 30% Latinx, 30% Caucasian, and 10% is other. Other would be African American, Native American, and others who are mixed. But these resource centers are great. You learn about other people's culture, you can learn more about yours, you participate in festivals and any holidays. They're also great spaces to meet new friends, right? They also have study spaces too. If you're interested in sports, we are Division 3. Some of the sports we offer are swimming and diving, volleyball, track and field. GoSlugs.com is your resource. That website will list all of the sports that we offer here at UC Santa Cruz, as well as contact information for coaches and their emails. We also have club sports. That's inner water polo in that photo there. We also have, so some things we have there, we have a sailing club, and we also have a surfing club. If you're a first gen like I am, we welcome you. 33% of our student population are first gen. EOP on our campus offers a multitude of services. One of them is called Slug Sense. Slug Sense is a financial literacy program for students, and they help you understand money, manage your money, potentially graduate college with less debt. They also have, it's not on there, but they also have a program where depending on what you're studying, you can sign up for a voucher that's worth, I think, at least a few $100s that you can put toward the purchase or renting of books, textbooks. And down to the nitty-gritty of freshman admissions. So seniors, if any of you are on here, your application comes down to two things. It's completing the A through G subject area and having the minimum GPA for UC admission. I do want to say that it is getting competitive and there are a lot of students who apply every year. So my advice is to go above and beyond. What does that mean? It means with the courses that you're taking, A through G requirements, you want to take more than, sorry, there was a pop-up here. You want to take more than what you're asked. For example, if you're thinking about majoring in engineering, you want to take the highest math or science course at your school. Don't stop at 3 years of math, take 4. For GPA, the minimum UC GPA is 3.0 for a California resident. I would say aim as high as you can because these are just minimum requirements. Okay. Aside from your grades and GPA, these are also the factors we use to evaluate your application. So we have your facts and figures. We want to know about you. We want to know what you do outside of the classroom. And the way we do that is through your PIQs and what you list under activities and awards. If you're a senior and you're applying to schools and you haven't started your PIQs, I would encourage that you do so soon. The PIQs is probably one section that will take you a while to write and complete as part of your UC application. Activities and awards. If you've done something since you were a kid, let's say you've done ballet or you've played the trumpet or the piano since you were 8 years old, make sure to list that. Other things you can list under that are, are you a president of a club? Did you start a club? Are you volunteering? Do you have a part-time job? Or maybe you don't do any of those because you have to go home and help take care of your siblings. Write that down. Going back to the PIQs, just some quick tips. So these are not essays. These are short answer questions. So I know it's hard because, you've probably taken about 4 years of English by now in high school, but as an evaluator, I'm more so looking at content. I don't care so much about basic grammar or spelling of words. I'm looking at content. The main thing is you want to make sure that you're answering the question, but also you want to think about in your responses how you are impacting your community. And, community can be up to your interpretation, right? It can be family, it can be your friends, it can be your neighbors, or even on a global scale online, right, through Zoom. Also, there are 8 questions. You only have to answer 4. Make sure you use 4 different stories. For example, if you're talking about starting a club in one of the responses, I would choose 3 different stories for the next 3 questions. Other things for the PIQs, please do not list your YouTube channel or your LinkedIn. I know it's funny, people always laugh when I say this part, but I do see it on the application. In reality, we don't click on those links. So I would really not add it to your response. I also do PIQ workshops if that's of interest for next year. Application timeline wise, the application is open now. It opens on August 1st of every year. And so it is due in October or November. I know it says it's due December 1st there, but please do not wait until the last minute. Every year we get calls and emails. I get them in my inbox as well, asking if we can open or extend the deadline. And the reality is the deadline is set by UC Office of the President, so we're not able to extend that deadline. So once you've submitted the UC application, you should be hearing back from us around February to March of next year. And I would say that this timeline is about the same for the rest of the other UC campuses as well. Now, before I show you the next slide, I just want to say the number you see on there is the sticker price, but most people don't pay that because 70% of our students are on some kind of financial aid. So, how much does it cost to attend UC Santa Cruz? For a California resident, without any kind of financial aid, loans, grants, scholarships, one would be paying about $45K. But we can break this down. Tuition and fees at the very top there is $16K. And that's the same across all of the UC campuses. Living expenses is, living in the dorms with a meal plan. If you notice, living on campus and off campus is about the same because cost of living has gone up. Books, transportation, your miscellaneous personal expenses, this is all subjective, right? It really depends on you and what you're studying and your need, how much you're spending for yourself. Campus health insurance, if you have a comparable health insurance, so something that's similar to ours, the health center will waive that $3,700. So really, no one's really paying $45K. And like I said earlier, 70% of our students are on some kind of financial aid. So for seniors who are applying this fall, once you've submitted the UC application, the next application that you should tackle is the FAFSA or the DREAM Act application. Okay, and that would be the prerequisites to see if you qualify for anything at the federal level, at the state level, but also depending on the UC campus that you apply to, if you would be eligible for any aid. We also have private scholarships available. The Career Center on campus does have a database online where you can look up all of these private scholarships that you can apply to separately. But there is also a QR code there if you want to look at more scholarships. This is one of my last slides. Time and money saving tips for college. So depending on your major, you may be able to finish in 3 years. What that means is you are probably taking college courses now, or maybe you have taken AP tests and scored 3 or higher on them. So if you scored a 3 or higher, that would earn you college credit towards your bachelor's degree. And also, you probably have taken summer classes, or you're going to be taking summer classes, which we also offer as well. The classes are quick. They go about 6 weeks long. And what else? We also have jobs on campus for students. In our office, we've got about 40 tour guides, and they're all students. We also have a handful of them helping us in the office with filing, answering phones, general emails. Also, my last tip is you can apply as a transfer student. Depending on the county that you're living in, community college is free or almost free. So why not take advantage? I did this route myself, and back then for me, community college was $20 a unit. But yeah, it helped me save on my overall college costs. Oh, I have one more slide. Just more facts and figures about our campus. My favorite is that bottom right over there. We are in the top 50 public universities in the US, and there are so many universities in the US and in the world as well. I also want to say that the University of California is the most applied to college system in the world. So that speaks to, the popularity of our colleges, our campuses. And this is my last slide. If you want to check out our socials, we are on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. If you have questions, feel free to email me. I'm open. My responses may be delayed because I am driving a lot for work in these couple months. And also, oh, I didn't say this. There is a QR code at the bottom left there if you'd like more information on our campus. This is I joke about this, but this is also how I let my boss know I'm working today. So if you'd like to scan that code, it puts you on a mailing list. We send you information about our campus, events that are happening. Also, if you're applying to our campus, we send you reminders. For example, like, oh, the application's due, or it's time to apply to the FAFSA or the Dream Act application. And also, we may send you scholarship opportunities as well. And that is all. Thank you for being here. I think it's time for Q&A.
Yes, so I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. So if anybody out there has a question for Claudine about UC Santa Cruz or about the UC system in general, now would be a great time to unmute yourself, or you can ask the question in the chat.
Oh, and if the QR code was not working, I can put this in the chat here because I feel like some people may be watching this on their phones. So
Thank you. Anybody have any questions about UC Santa Cruz? Okay, kind of a quiet bunch tonight. We're going to go ahead. Thank you, Claudine, very much. We may have some questions.
I do have one question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
yes.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute it. Housing for freshmen, is there an abundance? Are you pretty tight? What does that look like?
Yeah. So housing is guaranteed for all new students for the first year on campus. And if there's interest in living on campus again, the next year students will just have to reapply. There's a separate housing application that they fill out. And it's really 50-50 after their first year. It depends on availability. But
Okay.
I think we house the highest percentage of students out of all the UC campuses. About 50% of our students live on campus. And I don't know if you've been on campus lately, but we are building more family student housing. It's something that's been in the works for a while, for probably the last 10 years. And this summer they finally got to building it, and they're still building it now. I think it should be done in the next year or so.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Other questions out there?
Is there something? Okay. I thought there was something in the chat.
Okay, well, Claudine, thank you so much. And Claudine will be here. So if you do have a question about UC Santa Cruz or the UC system, you can type it in the chat and we will answer that question. Right now, we're going to turn it over to Azucena Ramos. She's our admission counselor from CSU Monterey Bay.
Thank you. Alrighty, let me go ahead and share my screen real quickly. There we go. Perfect. All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm Azucena Ramos. I'm the Senior Admissions Counselor at Cal State Monterey Bay. I'm so excited to be talking to you guys a little bit about the university. I always like to introduce myself and so you guys know kind of where I'm coming from, right? I am a CSU MB graduate myself. I moved out here to the area as a first-time freshman from the Central Valley. I'm from Visalia. So I always like to start with that because I lived, all of these years here. I experienced everything, and it's just things are always getting better and it's always progressing. And again, CSUMB is always growing as a university. And let's go ahead and just get started from there. So CSUMB, we are hitting our 31-year mark this year. So we are one of the younger campuses in the CSU system. We also have a smaller student enrollment. We're known as a mid-sized campus with about 7,500 students enrolled. We're a Hispanic serving institution labeled as an HSI. A lot of the CSUs are HSIs, just meaning that we at least serve 25% or more full-time Hispanic and Latino students on our campus. And then again, we are 1 mile from the beach. We are the closest beach to, we are the closest university to the beach, being about a 15 to 20 minute walk. So that puts us apart from a lot of our CSUs. a lot of students really like that. You know, they like the location and things like that. Hence the CSU with the ocean view slogan on the first page. Here's all of our demographics. I always like to point out that about half of our student population identify as first generation college students, which is quite a bit. As a university, we have to identify that's a very large number of students, right? And even prospective students, right? We have to make sure that we do things like this, presentations, we come out and meet with students as well, or, you know, offer, you know, Zoom appointments or anything like that. On campus, we have support programs I'll get into a little bit in a later slide as well. Cost and financial aid, about 89% of students at CSUMB receive financial aid. As you guys can see here, there's just different costs, living with parents, living on campus, those kinds of things. Again, I always like to tell students that it changes if you choose not to live on campus, obviously. I think usually the first year anywhere you go is always the most priciest because of the housing and then the meal plan that has to go with it as well. When your student applies for financial aid October 1st, what happens is then they submit it and something called the student aid index is generated. Okay, that information will be sent to the university that you want it to be sent to, and we are able to generate your financial aid offer for you. So you're going to get your notice saying, hey, you've been admitted to the university, and you're also going to get that financial aid package so you and your family can talk and discuss to see, hey, is this a good offer for us, all that kind of stuff. That package I'm talking to you all about, there's different types of financial aid you can be offered within that package. We call our scholarships and grants the free money, right? Money you will never have to pay back. That could be your federal Pell Grant, your California grant. The State University grant is equivalent to what that Salinas Valley Promise is, right? It's equivalent to what it will cover your tuition so long as you're eligible for it, and also as long as you apply for financial aid before that deadline of March 2nd, the priority deadline for March 2nd. We also have the FSAOG. That's again for students that display a higher need financial support, and then scholarships can be like anything within middle class scholarship and things like that. Again, once a campus receives your information, that they will be able to determine if you are eligible for that. Loans, obviously money you do have to pay back. I always tell students, if you don't need it, don't take it. A lot of our local students, again, too, have to contemplate if they're going to save the money and live at home and commute, because, again, they're probably getting just quite enough money to be able to cover tuition and fees, but maybe not for everything like housing, the meal plans, all that kind of stuff. It can get a little pricey once that comes into the equation. You guys can see too, CSUMB we have our own scholarships as well. So it's one application for all the scholarships that you guys want to apply for. Starting October 1st is when our portal will open up. So students will have to make an account and answer all the little essay questions. I believe there's an unofficial transcript that will be required as well to proceed and create the account, and students can then submit scholarship applications. Academic highlights, so our top majors at CSUMB, so we have anything from business being our actually most popular major right now. I think it's really popular at any university, honestly. Psychology, marine science is very unique to us and to the area that we're located in. Computer science is very popular as well. Our major highlights that I always like to point out is our mechatronics engineering program and our statistics and data science program, especially because our math department just revamped a lot of its concentrations, its majors, things like that, renamed a lot of its majors as well. Going back to the student population, the average class size on our campus is about 27 students in a class. That's really important because a lot of students, they don't want to go into a big lecture hall. They don't want to feel lost in the crowd. They need a smaller, more tight-knit environment to be able to soak in the information and, learn better. And at CSUMB, we definitely value the quality of education that we're giving our students. We have 29 overall majors and 40 minors that students can add on to their majors when they're students there, when they can meet with their academic advisor and do that as well. So here's a list of all of our bachelors of arts. So we have anything from our cinematic arts and technology major, which if a student is interested in, film or photography, anything like that, that would be a very good major to go into. I get a lot of questions on that major. It's a very hands-on major. We provide, the equipment for students to utilize for their projects and things like that. Another one I always like to point out is our liberal studies major. I always tell students, what is it, right? What do you guys think it is? And they're like, I don't know what that is. It's actually our elementary education pathway. So if a student wanted to be an elementary school teacher, liberal studies would be our kindergarten through 8th grade teaching pathway. So at CSUMB, we offer a traditional route where you can get your liberal studies degree and finish that and later on get your teaching credential, or we can do a liberal studies degree and your teaching credential at the same time. Okay, that saves a lot of students time and money, right? Because they're knocking two birds with one stone, basically. They can focus on elementary education, special education, or even bilingual elementary education, which is highly needed in our the Monterey County area. The last one I want to point out on this slide is going to be, again, undeclared. It's not technically a major, but I want to make sure that you guys know that students can apply to CSUMB as undeclared. If they don't know what they want to do yet, that is okay, right? They're just coming out of high school, right? We'll help them find their interest when they're at CSUMB. They will be linked up with their academic advisor for students that are undeclared coming into the university, and they will help them stay on track and declare a major before it gets, closer to the prereqs for a certain major, and they will help them declare that major that they want. Here's all of our bachelors of sciences. So I pointed out mechatronics engineering. So mechatronics engineering is a combination between computer, electrical, and mechanical engineering in one program. Again, it's our first engineering program. It's a new major, just launched last fall. We are one of the 3 Cal States that have this major. Students can apply these skills to anything in like agricultural technology, right, to meet the demands of our local workforce, anything within marine robotics, to enhance research opportunities as well, or even aerial technology as well. Another one I like to point out is agricultural plant and soil sciences. Again, very, very needed in our area, a lot of job opportunities as well. Agriculture, plant, and soil sciences is more of like the study of plant pathology, the lifespan of a plant, right? What different elements affect the growth of the crop as well is what I like to explain it as. In our area, we're harvesting crops every 40 to 50 days. So again, this type of career, this type of skill is needed in our area. And then business. Okay, I always like to point out business. It's very popular just at a lot of universities, especially in the CSU system. Students can concentrate in a variety of different areas in business. So I've had a student tell me, Azucena, I want to focus on business, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm like, okay, well, what specifically about business do you want to focus on? And they're like, oh, I didn't think of that, right? So we have a concentration in accounting. We have a marketing concentration, international business, agriculture business, entrepreneurship, informations in management. So there's different areas of a student can focus on within business. Accounting, like I said, is a concentration, but it was one of our most popular concentrations. So this fall of 2025, we just launched our accounting major at CSUMB. So just a couple weeks ago when classes started, we had our first ever group of students start in our accounting major. I know this is going to be a really fast-growing major. The program preps the students for that CPA exam, that Certified Public Accountant exam, all parts of it, so they are successful in whichever ones they choose to take out of the optional portions. Starting salaries for students in accounting starting at $60,000 to $83,000, graduating. And there's paid internships, just like our mechatronics engineering and our agricultural plant and soil sciences has paid internships starting at $25 to $30 an hour with local companies like Driscoll Farms, Driscoll Farms. Yeah, Driscoll's and Taylor Farms. Accounting has also their own paid internship starting at 25 to 40 an hour, which is absolutely crazy, but it's all opportunities that students can take advantage of when they are at our campus. Student housing. So again, being a local student, you do not need to live on campus. I want to be that super, super clear, okay? You can opt out of it. But if you choose to, we're one of the most residential campuses in the Cal State system as well. So we offer housing for all 4 years. So our residence halls are for our first-time freshmen. This picture is actually a picture of one of our residence halls before it was renovated. Now we have like new furniture and carpets and paint in the rooms and things like that. The residence halls are located right in the center of campus. So again, students don't have to, they are central to everything. I guess they're close to the library, close to a lot of their classes. Something unique about our residence halls is that students will get their restroom inside of every single one of their rooms. That's unique to the history of our campus. Being on an old military base, they are old, remodeled, repurposed military barracks. We have North Quad for our second years. If you choose not to live there your first year and you want to live there your second year, you can always apply your second year. We have promontories typically reserved for our third years. It's our newest, the nicest. I think it's a little bit more pricey just on its own. Residents of promontory will get a private gym, a movie theater room, a game room. It's also still a close distance, about an 8-minute walk right to the center of campus. East Campus is our upperclassmen housing, typically students that are 21 or older, very popular with transfer students that have families. We house our staff and faculty out there, and it's just 2 miles just down the road from the main campus. Dining on campus, we just expanded a lot of the menus to meet the wants, from our current student population. The president always takes things into consideration. So this is one of the recent things. Students wanted more dining options on campus, so we just added a few more, like a ramen spot on campus, a sushi bar, a juice bar to go along with our new fitness center, things like that. So definitely you guys can take advantage of that as well. This is a lot of students ask us about social life, right? What is there to do on campus? Students can get involved in clubs and organizations. So we have sports clubs, so that could be anything from soccer, rugby is very popular as well, lacrosse, we have cheer, dance, we have a sailing club as well. And then we have 75 different student clubs that students can join, and these are all based on interest, right? So it can be anything from business club, speech and debate club, gaming club. It's just for students to meet others, to network, to make friends. And then we have Greek life on campus as well. Students can always rush for a certain organization. And then other organizations, we also have our affinity groups, right? Our affinity organizations. Our Otter Cross Cultural Center is a hub for a lot of the ones that we don't have centers for yet. They put on their just all cultural programming, just in general for all groups. But we do have a Helen Rucker Center for Black Excellence. We have a Pride Center at CSUMB. We have El Centro, which is our Latinx Student Success Center as well. And again, more to come in the near future. Our basic needs is a food pantry. So again, I always tell students, wherever you end up going, take advantage of every free service, especially something like a food pantry on campus. Our basic needs is always stocked up with a lot of cool supplies. We have a cool partnership now that we have Trader Joe's about a 5-minute drive away from us, so they donate quite a bit of fresh veggies, fruits, milk, bread, flowers, and students take advantage of all that in our basic needs center. Student government, so students can always join. The biggest thing to take away from associated students is going to be that they plan all these fun events for students on campus. So when students are like, there's nothing to do, I don't know, I'm like, get on that app. It's called My Raft, and you can, RSVP for all these fun things that they have, going on. They have farmers markets, spring concerts. They have big bingo nights, go in the dark Zumba, randomly on a Wednesday evening. So there's always something to do. Apart from that, our recreation center always has something to do. If a student's like, I like to get moving, I'm more active, I want to be out, running or biking or hiking. Our recreation center also provides a lot of events where students can RSVP. There's something called My Raft. They'll have access to that when there's students there. Our recreation center also has different amenities or things that students can take advantage of like renting a bike and things like that. So there's those different opportunities there. We are in the NCAA Division II in our athletics program, so we play other Cal States like Dominguez Hills, Humboldt as well. I believe Chico's also in our division. So we are 5-time champions in a few of our sports. If a student is looking to play in one of our athletic programs and they are not being recruited, I would always say reach out to the coaches. We have our whole page on our website with their information. Email's always best is what I say. If you are not planning to play sports in college, I would encourage you go to the games. They're free for you guys with your student ID cards. Every one of you will get one as a new student on campus, and those get you into the games for free. Our student sections at all the games are super lively, super energetic, and again, that's just another way for you to make friends. I think more than anything, I tell students is like, you're going to college with other people, right, that are coming from all across the, California, out of state, internationally. So don't be shy, right? They're all in your same boat. So, try something different when you get to the university level for sure. These are the support programs I was talking to you all about that I was going to mention. So EOP, the Educational Opportunity Program, supports our students that are first generation and low income. They have to be both. They have to meet both criteria. The specific thing I want to point out about EOP is that a student would need to apply for the program through the CSU application when they're applying to the university. They cannot show up to the university or any university in the CSU system and be like, hey, sign me up, I want to be part of EOP. They have to apply and answer all the questions, provide their 2 references on the application. When those 2 references their information is inputted into the application portion for EOP, those references will get an email saying, hey, can you fill out this reference on behalf of so-and-so? Okay. I always tell students, make sure those references know, right? Because then we don't want a generic, little reference. We want something that, speaks about you a little bit more, because again, EOP is a very competitive program to get into at all campuses. Again, EOP offers, mentorship and guidance. They provide workshops such as financial literacy workshops. They provide them with fun trips. There's also an EOP grant. Again, if a student is eligible for that, it's starting at $2,000 for the year. Again, EOP is a point of entry. So if a student gets into it their freshman year, they're in it for all 4 years. And then EOP also has a summer bridge program when they invite their students to come live on campus the summer before school starts as freshmen. So they can come live on campus and they take in part in everything EOP has scheduled out for them. If they don't get into EOP, they can always apply for TRIO. TRIO's application never closes. They can always apply at any time on our website. So if they just look up TRIO on the csumb.edu website, you can apply at any time in any semester. But TRIO just doesn't have, again, they support students that are first generation or low income. They just don't have that stipend, and they don't offer the summer bridge program, okay, to live on campus. But again, they still offer a lot of the very, very useful resources for students that, are first generation or coming from low income backgrounds. We have a Guardian Scholars program on campus as well that supports our current or former foster youth. We have undocumented student support services as well. And then we have a Veterans Resource Center that students can take advantage of as well. This is something I like to break up in small little sections, right? So when you get to college, right, there's different departments almost for everything. So admissions, we want to make sure that you know about our university, that, you're talking to us and we're, pointing you in the right direction. We're helping you with, again, applications, transcripts, scholarships, anything like that, any information you need. When you get to campus, you will have an academic advisor that will help you choose your classes. I think that's the biggest thing, especially for first-time freshmen coming in, is, Azucena, what classes do I need to take? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure, but your academic advisor definitely can help you out. Let's get connected with them. And then they all have a career guidance advisor that'll help them with resumes, with cover letters. They put on these big job fairs. A lot of students are always looking for jobs at the beginning of the year as well. So it's a very well attended event in our university center. So there's anything from working in admissions. We have like our front desk team. We have a processing student assistant team, and a variety of different offices on our campus have job opportunities for our students as well. We have a CLC. I always tell students, if you don't be too scared to, go to college because you think it's going to be too hard for me, right? Because that's exactly how I used to think, being a first generation student myself, is I'm going to get to CSUMB and they're going to give me these 20-page essays and, these math equations, and I wasn't going to be able to figure out, and I wasn't going to be successful. I took part in the CLC program weekly, right? And the student can schedule a reoccurring appointment with tutors to help them out with math, to look at their, assignments and just peer review things. So again, that's a service for them. Another one I just quickly want to point out, and I'll go on to the next slide, is our MST, the WAVE and the MST partnership. So the WAVE is a shuttle on campus that students can take in all the way from East Campus, all around campus, just to get from class to class. So again, students can ride the WAVE with their student ID cards. It's free for them. We have that Monterey Salinas Transit partnership. So it's that public transit that will bring them all the way from Hollister all the way to campus. So I get a lot of students saying, "Oh, Asustan, I've been admitted, but I don't have a car." And I'm like, "Oh, it's okay. We have that MST. It's free for you. Get on there. It's going to take you a little longer, but you'll get here, right?" A lot of students from the South County, all the way from King City and up, that's how they're getting to school, right? Until it is a year later or 2 years later that they are able to get their transportation, figured out. But again, that's something that I want to point out always to parents, especially because I have parents on the call as well, that we have the opportunity on our campus. So this is our requirements for freshmen. We're looking for those A through G requirements. So it's anything within these subjects. I know just hearing from the head counselor there at Hollister High School that your students' classes align with A through G requirements already, which is really, really good, because sometimes the districts and things like that, they can change things. But again, we are looking for all these subjects with anything above a C-. Okay. The CSU does not look at anything with the letter grade of D or F. If your student does have those grades, or if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to look over their transcripts. I always mention too, we always do these unofficial evaluations for students. So I'm always encouraging them, send us your transcript. Let us know if you want an unofficial evaluation for you, so I can tell you exactly where you're at, to see where you're at with your A through Gs and if you meet them, and what classes I would recommend you retake to boost your GPA, or so you are eligible for the CSU. Again, we are a test-free admission, so we do not require the SAT or ACT. If a student does take them, they can submit them. They are used more for placement in math and English with our academic advising team. If any issues arise, and if you have any questions or anything at all, you guys have a huge resource, right? You have your guys' counselors on campus that support you. I will be coming to campus quite a bit as well to support students and do one-on-one meetings. We are also available on virtually on like our website. You guys can always select to meet with a counselor, and we can talk one-on-one if you guys need that. This is all GPA. So this is something called a multi-factor admissions criteria. Regular admissions is going to be anything above a 2.5, and that A through G coursework completed, again, with those passing grades of a C- or greater. The multi-factor admissions criteria comes in when a student has a lower GPA, right? It could be anything between a 2.0 to a 2.49. We're still going to look at those A through Gs, making sure that they have everything, but we're going to also look at additional criteria. This is called supplemental criteria. because of the GPA, right? So these are other ways students can be considered for admissions. They already get the local area consideration. We also can look at the students' first generation, if they're low income, if they took X-ray through Gs, we can always look at math GPAs, things like that. So again, for our local students, I just want to say that we prioritize our local students. So we want to make sure that we're getting you to the CSU, but I always tell students, connect with us. Again, shoot for the stars with the GPA for your grades to get that bump as well, especially for your senior year. This is our open house event. I want to quickly advertise it. So it's our preview day, October 18th. It's a Saturday. So it's a good day to come even check out our campus. We have academic showcases for every single department on campus. So students, if you guys wanted to talk to us, like faculty, professors, just the chairs or anything like that, and just get a sense a little bit more of what the major's all about, all that kind of stuff, that would be a good opportunity for you. We have campus tours, housing tours, a big resource fair, food, we're going to feed everybody, all that good stuff. So there's always stuff going on. It's a very well attended event. So feel free to scan the QR code. It will take you right to our page on our website, so you can RSVP. Again, it's a free event. Hopefully you and all your family can come out and check out our campus. So I'll give that a second and I will put it back at the end. But that is all from me. Again, my contact information is there at the bottom. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Azucena. Great job. Thank you, Claudine. Questions from our audience. Now would be a good time for questions for either of our presenters. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. It's not every day we have access to university admissions counselors. So just one clarifying point, the University of California and the California State University systems do not use ACT or SAT scores for admission purposes, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can be used for placement purposes. So if a student is really good at test taking, that might be a reason to take the SAT or ACT if they're applying to these two systems.
I also want to add that, depending on the private scholarships that you may be applying to, sometimes they will look at your ACT or SAT scores as a form of, looking through your application too.
Good point. Yeah. Okay. What questions do folks have?
I actually have a question. I'm a little confused, and this might be kind of a silly question. What's the difference between the UC system and the CSU system in general?
Yeah, so generally CSUs, we're smaller universities. We're smaller public universities. I would say that a lot of us too, sometimes I say to the price point as well. Sometimes students, especially if there's a local CSU and they choose to even commute or something like that, it could be very, very affordable for them. But I would just say, I guess there's smaller universities. Colleen, do you want to?
Yeah, I wanted to wait until you were done. Back when I was in school, this is a while ago. I'm older than I look. It was always said that CSUs are more hands-on, but honestly, like the UCs, we do research. Research can be done outdoors. It doesn't have to be indoors in a lab. So like the idea of the CSUs being teacher colleges, and being more hands-on than the UCs I think is untrue. The differences between the systems is when it comes down to it is cost, could be funding as well. I think also the focus. I think the UCs in general are just more research based. Yeah, and then depending on the major too, I think one major that people usually ask if we have at the UCs in general, like nursing. UCLA and UC Irvine would have nursing, but the CSU at the CSU level, nursing is more prominent as a major. Um, and then yeah, there are certain majors that are just not available at the CSU. Sorry, at the UC versus the CSU. What other differences are there?
Well, it's
Yeah.
interesting because many states have two public systems,
Hmm.
like I'm from Illinois and they have the University of Illinois schools and then they have the Illinois state schools. And it's interesting how that developed. And I'm not sure why that developed that way, but they are two separate, organizations. So, other questions? Okay. We'll wait just a few seconds here. Um, just as a reminder to parents of seniors, counselors at Hollister High School will be available in the months of October, November, and even December to assist students with applying to universities. So please have your student reach out to his or her counselor if they want help. As I said, we've already reached out to our seniors in HST and Hay Baylor Sport Time to kind of let them know what we're going to be doing. We will be reaching out, again and again, but please encourage your students to, really be mindful of the timelines. Again, the UC and the CSU applications, the deadline this year is December 1st, and that's because of where the calendar falls. I think traditionally it's been November 30th. What I always encourage students to do is, get your applications done before that Thanksgiving holiday if you can, because that holiday tends to distract us from school stuff and we're doing lots of family and fun and vacation stuff. So you don't want to be caught on the last day, the deadline, trying to submit your application whenever there's thousands of other people trying to do that. Other questions out there?
Yes, I have a question. And I know I could just search this online. Since I got you both here, do either of these colleges offer forensic pathology or uh,
Forensic science?
yes, and medical, like all I'm thinking is NCIS and Ducky, like that kind of a job. The you know medical practitioner, that kind of uh yeah, anything like that at either college.
So at UC Santa Cruz, no. I would recommend checking out, I feel like UC Davis may have something, UCLA. I would check any of the UC campuses that have a medical center.
Okay.
So UCLA, UC Davis. Uh, there's one off the top of my head.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I can check and Google it, right?
Mhm. Oh yes, yes.
All
You
right,
can
thank
Google
you.
anything.
All right, thanks.
At CSUMB, we don't have forensic science. Some of our sister colleges will have forensic science, such as Fresno State, East Bay, Cal State LA. We're still growing as a university, so as we grow, our majors will grow as well. For we also don't have a medical practitioner program.
But there are a lot of CSUs that do have a forensic science.
Yes, a lot of them do.
Criminology and criminal justice and things related to that. So there's a really great part of the CSU and UC websites where you can search for majors, right? I think with CSU it's called CSU degrees if you just Google that, and I think with UC it's called UC majors, and you can actually search all those campuses by putting in a keyword like nursing or criminology or forensic science, that kind of thing. So that's a really helpful tool. I'll put that in the chat, and you can check that out. I'm just going to put what you need to look up. There it is. Other questions? Okay, well, thank you again, Claudine and Azucena, for being here tonight, and thank you all for tuning in. I hope that this has been helpful, and again, please have your students reach out to the Career Center, Mrs. Andrade, the counselors, and we wish you all the best of luck, and have a wonderful night. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye.